Luka's getting fat shamed. Lauri Markkanen has another big game. JonathanKuminga's looking to get paid. Jusuf Nurkic is out of shape too. Cam Thomas wants some money. And Josh Giddey intel. Let's talk about it. It's the Hoops Nerd Show. All right, guys, like always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and watch to the end. Come on, it'll help me out. All right, guys, we got a full show today. I'm going to start covering all these different topics. There's a lot to get to. All right, the first one, this comes from Dallas Hoops Journal about Luka Doncic. This comes from an anonymous scout talking about the Luka Doncic situation with Dallas. He says, I think he's going to win MVP and the scoring title next season. He wants to get revenge on Dallas for basically fat shaming him. So Luka Doncic gets traded to the Lakers and he's finally in shape. After he got traded, we heard all the stories about how disappointed the Dallas Mavericks were. Nico Harrison talking about how he wasn't in shape. Well, basically, Luka Doncic goes to LA, gets in shape. I mean, we've seen this before, so we'll see if it keeps up. The biggest revenge for Luka is going to be if he can stay in shape for the entire season and can do that till the end. And if he can, there is no reason why he can't win MVP. He is that caliber of player. When Luka's in shape and playing at the peak of his powers, he's a top 5 player, if not top 3, or maybe even best player. But he can do it. The question is, can he keep it up? It's one thing in the offseason when everything's controlled, you're not on the road, you're not in different cities, getting in at 3 a.m. and things like that. That's when it gets really tough for these players. The NBA grind is tough for multiple reasons, and one of those for players like Luka to get and stay in shape is tough. Some players have a hard time keeping weight on. Obviously, Luka has a hard time keeping weight off. And so that's a big thing for Luka Doncic this season. If he does it, I think he can be great. If not, we'll see what happens. We've seen this before. He's lost weight. But is this the time that it takes? Maybe being angry keeps it up. It's becoming a regular thing. Lauri Markkanen is destroying Belgium. Finland has declared war on the great sovereign nation of Belgium. And the guy throwing off the shots is Lauri Markkanen. 31 points again. 5 rebounds. Last time it was like 48. He destroyed them. 5 rebounds again, 2 steals. Finland has declared war. And it is against the great nation of Belgium. I don't know anything about Belgium basketball. I know Lauri Markkanen, and it's great to see him playing well. If you're a Jazz fan, like we talked about last time, you got to be happy because he's doing great things for Finland. This only helps the cause, whatever you are rooting for. If you're rooting for a trade, if you're rooting for the Jazz to play well, if you're rooting for him to win, if you're rooting for good basketball, this is what's going on. Lauri Markkanen looks great. We'll see if he can keep it up. But last time we saw him do this, last time he was good in Eurobasket, he came to the Jazz, made the All-Star team. So we'll see if he can keep it up. Next, JonathanKuminga. It looks like he is going for the qualifying offer instead of taking a 2-year deal from the Golden State Warriors. It sounds like the Golden State Warriors gave him a 2-year offer, and they are kind of fighting over if it's a player option or a team option in the second year or possibly third. I don't know exactly what that offer is. But anyways, it's looking like, according to Anthony Slater, JonathanKuminga has continued to indicate that the qualifying offer has more appeal than the 1+1 team option the Warriors offered. That's right. So team option is what they're offering. JonathanKuminga obviously wants the player option so he can get out. Very clear that he wants to get paid and wants to leave. Seems like that situation has gotten bad. He's not going to be there. When a player, it doesn't happen very often, but when the players take the qualifying offer, that is basically the end of the relationship, and they will go into free agency the following year. And so there may be teams out there that might want to trade for Kaminga and make something happen with the Warriors, but if he takes the qualifying offer, it's something like $8 or $9 million. And with the way the CBA works, if he doesn't sign a 2-year contract with them, then that number is low, and the the options for the Warriors to trade him get lower. Now, this is the hard part about contracts, because you can't always give a too big of a contract. Also, you can't give a too low of a contract because it makes it difficult to trade. If you don't know, those trades have to be within $5 million. So if Jonathan Kuminga does the qualifying offer and makes $9 million, then the most they can pay or make a trade work if it's just him is $5 million above that or $5 million below. So if there's a player out there making $14 million or less, they could make it happen. But the other report is that they don't want to include players like Buddy Hield and Moses Moody. And those are players that teams might want to get. If there's a team out there, just for example, like the Utah Jazz, if they wanted to bring on a lot of talent for Lauri Markkanen and traded for Jonathan Kuminga, Markkanen makes $46 million, so they would have to do a sign and trade with Kaminga that would match within $5 million, and I don't even know if they can get to that number. But they could compile multiple contracts, but I don't think the Warriors want to do that. They don't want to give away 3 of their best players for one. Maybe they do. Maybe this is just one giant ploy. Certainly seems like Jonathan Kuminga is not going to be staying in Golden State. Next, Jusuf Nurkic is on the diet of Luka Doncic from last year. Crap. Anyways, Jusuf Nurkic, from a Bosnian national team head coach Adis Besaragic, blasted his team's lack of conditioning. He says Nurkic is out of shape and can barely run. This comes from basketnews.com. Jusuf Nurkic is making something like $18 million and is going to the Utah Jazz. His value to the Utah Jazz was not how much money he makes, but it was for how his contract ends next season. Anyone who had any questions about that, Utah needed a player that their contract would fall off after next year. They bring in Nurkic, who will not take away minutes from their young players like Walter Clayton, Ace Bailey even, Keontae George, Isaiah Collier, Bryce Sensabaugh. All those players needed minutes and time to develop. Colin Sexton was going to eat up a lot of those minutes. It was just not going to happen. But anyways, Nurkic comes to the Utah Jazz, probably eating too much Crown Burger in Salt Lake City, too much fry sauce with those Red Robin endless fries or whatever he's doing. He's out of shape, which in a way is kind of helpful to the Utah Jazz, because if he doesn't play well, that actually helps Utah with what they're doing. We know that Utah is trying to get a top 8 pick, so they keep their pick next draft. If they don't stay with the top, if they don't stay within the top 8, then they give that pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Guys, I can't talk tonight. I'm struggling. But anyways, shout out to Jusuf Nurkic. He's getting paid and he's eating whatever he wants, and that just seems to be how it's going. All right, next story. Cam Thomas reportedly wants nearly $40 million a year. He believes he deserves as much or more than Jalen Green, Emmanuel Quickley, and Tyler Hero, per Nets Daily. One league source told Nets Daily where Thomas sees his market using comparable players around the league, like Jalen Green and Quickley and so on. And those guys are making in the $32 million range. Cam Thomas does not have a contract yet, and we've seen reports before that a lot of NBA teams look at him as a 6th man. And it is really tough for an NBA team, with how tough contracts are, to give a guy $32 million who might be coming off the bench. I don't look at Cam Thomas as a defensive stalwart, so it makes it really difficult to justify a lot of minutes. Probably not the greatest playmaker in the world. What he does is he scores the ball, and you got to give him credit. He scores the ball extremely well. He is as talented as anyone at being kind of that fire starter, that heat check guy, whatever you want to call it, someone that can come in and just score a ton of buckets. There's a ton of value with Cam Thomas as a 6th man. But for him to come in and be kind of a starter, or if he's like your lead guy, which is kind of what you're making him, if you pay him something like $32 million, that's a big deal. That's not Lauri Markkanen money. But it's a lot, and I just don't know if there's a lot of teams out there willing to do that. And the other thing that is going against Cam Thomas is there's not a lot of teams out there with that kind of cap space. You're looking at teams like the Utah Jazz, who are clearing cap space for next offseason, but they are not looking to win right now. And bringing on Cam Thomas is a move that a team that's trying to win right away makes happen. Maybe there's a sign and trade here waiting to happen with a team that might want to move players. You know, would the Brooklyn Nets and Golden State Warriors be interested in some sort of sign and trade with both players? Maybe, although I don't know if Cam Thomas fits with what Steve Kerr wants to do. If I'm Brooklyn, though, that's an interesting move. I might be willing to do that. Brooklyn had so many point guards they drafted in the draft. Someone like Kaminga would fit really nicely there, and they just need more talent that they can develop. Finally, last story. The Warriors and Bulls never discussed a trade for Josh Giddey, per Brett Siegel NBA. This was a means of Giddey's side trying to increase the price one last time. I don't know if Brett Siegel is the most reliable source, but you know what? This fits a little bit with what's going on with the Bulls and Josh Giddey. They are in contract negotiations, and we have heard rumors that Golden State was interested in Josh Giddey, and those rumors very true, but nothing has really materialized. And there was another report, I think it was from Mark Stein, talking about how the Bulls appear they're just difficult to work with because a lot of teams don't know what they're trying to do. I don't know if the Bulls know what they're trying to do, to be honest. Are they winning? Are they losing? They tend to be right in the middle. They tend to overpay guys they shouldn't. They tend to underpay guys that end up leaving. It's a tough situation in Chicago. Probably the right move to play hardball with Josh Giddey a little bit, but you got to be careful because if he's a big part of your future and he gets angry and forces a move out of Chicago, then it doesn't go well. I think they'll likely get a contract finalized at some point here. It's the Bulls. They're going to make it happen, but they're also the Bulls, so this may take some time, and who knows if this gets all screwed up. I don't know if there's a lot of teams out there willing to pay big-time money for Josh Giddey with all the flaws that come with him, basically just the inconsistent shooting. So this is a high-risk move that a team that traded for him is likely going to make happen to keep him in Chicago. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you're new here, thank you so much. And to all the members, especially the All-Stars, thank you for your support. The season is coming day by day. We're getting closer. Guys, I will talk to you next time.